the presentation in the chat. I'm sure you're all familiar already with the Zoom functions, but you can find the chat in the lower panel. You can write your questions as we go, and our chat facilitator, Jason, he will collect them for our speaker later on. You can also keep your cameras on just to have this as close in-person feeling as possible in these times, but please keep muted unless we ask you to unmute yourself. Welcome everybody once again. So we are very pleased to welcome you to the Horizon Europe webinar series. We are admitting people in. And we will wait one more minute before we start. All right, I think we can start. So this will be the fourth session that we organized for you from our Horizon Europe webinar series, for our network, in order to improve the chances in obtaining EU funding by understanding better what is expected of you, providing you with tips, tools, and insights on how to make your project proposal better. Last year, we focused on introducing you to the novelties of the Horizon Europe, the new and the largest research and innovation framework program. We also provided you with some fundamentals and first steps when deciding whether to apply for EU funding. This year, we decided to focus on impact, dissemination, and exploitation because many proposals fail to get funding due to inadequately addressing these exact sections in the project proposals. And also because the Horizon Europe introduced a very new approach to impact. They will give more importance and they will be stricter in assessing whether the pathways described in the project proposal are credible. And they will be also evaluating the scale, the significance, and the quality of the measures that are set to maximize the expected outcomes and impact in the dissemination, communication, and exploitation plan. This way, the European Commission wants to increase the real-life impact of the funding that it provides so that it has long-lasting benefits to the society, economy, and science. They basically want to see that the results from the projects are used and they reach the market. Last week, our speaker, Andrea Di Anselmo, was explaining the definition behind impact and outcomes. We defined the differences between communication, dissemination, and exploitation. We discussed how important it is to link the project results all the way to the EU policy priorities. And Andrea provided with practical examples of how can impact look like in project proposals and way how to boost dissemination activities as well. If you haven't been with us the last session, we will also send you the link for the recording. So do not worry, you will be able to watch it afterwards as well. Today's session will focus on exploitation of project results, meaning the concrete use of the results for the benefit of economy, innovation, and society. We will present you with exploitation tools and insights on how to maximize your impact by using your research and innovation project results the best possible way. We will discuss and clarify how to deal with ownership and protection of your project results to help promote, speed up, and simplify the exploitation. Our speaker today is Lorenzo Barabani. He is a consultant with 12 years of experience in the entrepreneurship and sales departments of Meta Group. With a background in management engineering, he has direct experience in awareness raising on entrepreneurship, in delivering technological audits, in designing and implementing models for assessment of the innovation needs of companies. As head of Meta Group Tender Office, he has acquired excellent knowledge in monitoring the main European as well national and local programs in order to identify tenders of interest for the company. He has also experience in managing and implementing national and international projects to support entrepreneurship and innovation by working as a project manager. Since June 2020, he is managing the Horizon Results Booster services to support EU-funded research projects in exploitation and dissemination strategies. So now, without further ado, over to you, Lorenzo. You can share your screen.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm glad to be here and to present my experience with you, and obviously my company's experience in exploitation and how to prepare a good proposal in Horizon Europe. Now Horizon 2020 is already closed, so we have to look at the future. I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. So this is a kind of, continuation of what my colleague Andrea started last week. So few slides will be the same because they will help you recalling some good concepts, while obviously other will be different and focusing more on what is exploitation, what should be written in this part in the when we write project proposals. I think I don't have to introduce again my company, Meta Group. We as a company have more than 20 years of experience in bringing knowledge to market. So we have experience in delivering services for exploitation of research results through training and coaching. We have also on the ground experience in managing early stage funds. So we know also what the result of the exploitation should be. So this is why we had this, let's say, good and in-depth experience of the whole exploitation process. And this is why we also started a long time ago delivering this kind of services. So let's start from the beginning. What is exploitation? This is a definition of Horizon 2020, but I saw that this is also, I checked and verified yesterday, this is also what is already written in the Horizon Europe program. So this is the official definition of the Commission. They define exploitation as the use of results in further research and innovation activities other than those covered by the project itself, including commercial exploitation, for example, developing, creating, manufacturing, and marketing a product or a process or a service, I would add. Creating and providing the service, and they include also standardization activities, because one of the outputs of the exploitation could be a new standard, for example. So this is the definition. The attention, the focus, I recommend to put your attention on what is written in orange: use of results. So exploiting research results is defining how the results should be used. Okay. This is a slide that you already saw last week, but it's good to recall it. So exploitation is not dissemination. You will very often find exploitation together with dissemination, because they are, both very important two important components of the for the creation of impact. So Andrea already told you what is the creation of impact. To create impact, you need both exploitation and dissemination. On the one side, what we said, exploitation is making use of results, how you are planning to use the results. Dissemination is the group of activities you plan to make the results available to your relevant stakeholders, which could be customers, could be end users. Generally, they are customers, and we will see it later, but could be sometimes also end users or other relevant stakeholders. Okay. So I will not spend much more time on this because you already saw this. Where dissemination exploitation should be thought when you address obtaining results and obtaining impact. So as you can see clearly from this picture that you probably already saw, results that you obtain during the project, during your project, which are on the left side of the picture, should be used, should be disseminated to create what is in the right part of the picture. So to create what they call impact. Short-term impact, which is the expected outcome, and long-term impact, which is what they call expected impact now in the Horizon Europe. Okay, so as you see, dissemination exploitation, so exploitation is in the middle of the two, is in the middle of a process. I would say, and we will see it later, is a process. So don't think about exploitation as something very, concrete, I would say, as an item, but think of the exploitation as a process, okay, which leads from obtainment of the results to the obtainment, achievement of an impact. This is again something we picked from a presentation of the European Commission. Now in Horizon Europe, dissemination, exploitation, and communication plan is an admissibility condition. So if you don't prepare a draft plan in your proposal, you will not be evaluated and you will never be awarded with a grant. When preparing this plan, you should be pay attention to proportionate the scale of the plan to the scale of the project. You should include in the plan concrete action for for actions that should be obviously implemented during the project, but don't forget to include also what you plan to do after the end of the project. So what are the main elements of the dissemination, exploitation, and communication plan? Obviously, the activities, the plan measures, the target groups, so to whom and which channels you use. This is more related for dissemination. Communication measures, obviously, and policy feedback measures, but this is, let's say, these are more not for exploitation. And follow-up plan to foster exploitation uptake. This is an important part of what we discussed today, because again, you have to think at the grants the European Commission gives you as something, as an investment, let's say, not as something which just pays your salaries, but as something which has to produce results, and starting from these results, some effects, some changes in the society, in economy, in, what are the impact areas the European Commission set in the work program. What's compulsory now when you prepare your proposal? The plan, as we said, and this is the draft plan at project proposal level. Then within 6 months of the signature of the grant agreement, you have to provide a plan, a more detailed plan. So it is a mandatory deliverable. You should define and sign together with your partners a consortium agreement to set, let's say, the agreements among partners on intellectual property, research data, etc. And very important part, you have to indicate the owners of the results when the project is finished. So you have obtained all your results, you have defined a clear exploitation plan, you have to define also the owners. So this is important and a kind of new concept, relatively new concept, because it means that there should be a responsible partner for a result. It's not allowed anymore something like we will take care of exploiting a certain result. You should indicate who will take care of implementing certain activities. Okay, sorry, I have to mute my phone. Sorry. Okay, so when you prepare your proposal, how will your proposal will be evaluated in terms of exploitation and more in general on impact? What will be evaluated? This is again officially picked from the documents of the European Commission. As you can see, you have to be credible in all your measures and activities you propose to achieve the impact and obviously to implement exploitation of your results. So the credibility of the pathways, again, look at the word pathway. Pathway means a process. As we said, exploitation is a process. So the credibility of the set of actions, tasks that you propose to exploit your results and to have your impact will be evaluated by the evaluators, obviously compared or against the scale and significance of the project. So you cannot propose magnificent results with a very small impact, or vice versa, very small results and propose magnificent impact, because this is not credible. Okay. And the other parameter that will be evaluated is the suitability and quality of the measures to maximize the impact. So the measures for exploitation and dissemination. Okay, so they will evaluate your quality, suitability of your exploitation plan. Here you can find, I collected some, again, from experience, some example of what you should not do when you prepare your exploitation plan. Oh, sorry. For example, there is no market survey and exploitation routes are not adequately investigated. So you should demonstrate that you have clue about the market, for example, when you prepare your exploitation plan. You should know about what exploitation possibilities you have, concrete exploitation possibilities. The second one, consideration of existing obstacles missing. So when you exploit your research results, you will always find obstacles. Saying that you don't have any obstacle and everything will be done without any complication, let's say, without any obstacle, means that you don't have a clear picture of what is the reality. Okay. Again, economic feasibility, quick definition of target groups, lack of quantified targets, limited version. So in this case, the international level, the international dimension was not very well addressed. The non-interdisciplinary dimension was not very well addressed. Or again, lack of business plan. Obviously, if in the call they require you to prepare a business plan, you cannot prepare only something which is similar to. You have to prepare a business plan. Or IPR management is not sufficiently planned. So you didn't address specific points about IPR management. For example, if in your exploitation plans you plan to patent something, but you don't describe very well your strategy for IPR management, obviously this is a weakness. On the contrary, what are good evaluations, so good comments from evaluators? For example, if you demonstrate that you thought of different options to exploit your technology, could be a good point. When you address the long-term sustainability and you present also measures to ensure long-term sustainability, this is generally well considered by experts, by evaluators. Detailed IPR management, as we said before. Target seems achievable. Seem achievable. So credibility, what we said before, you should be credible also when you set some targets for your exploitation plan, in your exploitation plan. Good involvement of strategic partners. Don't forget, exploitation probably cannot be done only by yourself. You need also other partners to do exploitation. Accurate identification of market consumers, producers. This is at the basis. Analysis of the needs of final beneficiaries. So this we will see it later. When you address exploitation, you also should have to demonstrate that you understand what are the market conditions, what are the needs in the market. Okay, after these examples, I brought here the template. This is an extract of the template of a technical proposal of future Eurasian Europe projects. There will be in the impact section, there will be a part where you have to describe your path toward exploitation to have impact. But there will be also a summary section where you will be required to summarize what you broadly described in your previous section, in your exploitation pathway, let's say. Okay, and I put this here because this really very well summarizes what are the key elements for obtaining impact, and in particular for exploitation. As you see here, you will be required to start from needs. And this is why the previous comment, clear analysis of the needs. Without a clear analysis of the needs, you will not be able to identify properly probably your customers and what is the added value of your solution. So needs, what are the expected results that you are planning to obtain and to generate by the end of the project, then you have to summarize the dissemination, exploitation, and communication measures. What are these examples of these exploitation measures? For example, here you can see in the first example, patenting an algorithmic model is an exploitation route, is a way to exploit your results, your algorithmic model, okay? Or patenting a new product, or licensing to major electronic companies. This is a way of exploiting your patent. Once you obtain the patent, the exploitation route is licensing that patent. An alternative one could be selling your patent. Okay, so these are all examples of exploitation routes. Then obviously you will find here also dissemination, communication examples, etc. But this is not the target of our seminar today. And here the other parts for the achievement of impact. Target groups. Again, who are your customers? Who are your end users? Who will use your results? And then the outcomes and impacts. You spoke, or my colleague Andrea spoke about this concept last week, so I will not comment this anymore. So this is what, let's say, is official. So what is picked from the European Commission documents, and what are the requirements, let's say. But then what should you write when you prepare your proposal? So you have white paper in front of white sheet in front of you, clear sheet, and you have to start writing your exploitation part. Okay, the very first thing when you start writing your exploitation, the very first thing you have to think carefully about is about the what. So what is the subject of your exploitation process? What is the subject of your exploitation? This is what we call at Meta Group, and now also the European Commission started calling like this, what we call key exploitable results. Okay, so you have to clearly define what you are going to exploit. And when I see, when you see this definition, put the attention on the word clearly, on, and not very much on what, but clearly. Very often, very often, owners of the results are not able to define and to describe what their result is. We, and this comes from experience now, since June, within the Horizon Results Booster services, we have to support exploitation with exploitation services, the H2020 projects, and we generally ask them to provide a description of what are their key exploitable results. Believe me, around, I would say, 50%, even if not more, of the projects are not able to describe clearly what is their result. They generally tend to describe what the result does, what the result will produce, how the result works, but they are not able to define what is. So, is it a new product? Is it a new process? Is it a new standard? Is it a new training course? Is it a new platform? Is it a, I don't know, new methodology? Is it a new policy recommendation. That's the point. If you see in the picture here, you see 4 apples. Generally, it's not enough to say my result will be an apple. As you see, my result is a red apple, different from the others, because the others are yellow. So first of all, what is, and then why is different. Don't confuse the results with deliverables. When you produce a report for the commission, this is not a key exploitable result. Maybe it's a result from the of your project, but this is not the key exploitable one. So deliverables are not key exploitable results. When if in your project you will start identifying something like 20, 25 key exploitable results, I would say it's better if you start thinking again of what are your key exploitable results. Generally, you know, when you have from a project 5, 6, 7 key exploitable results, they are a lot of results. It's very rare that you have more than 10 key exploitable results in a project. So, you know, think very carefully about what is your key exploitable result. A very common mistake. My result in my project is a patent. No, a patent will be never a result, a key exploitable result. Patent is a way of protecting your result. It will be never a result. Once you identified what, if you produce 4 apples or the red apple in the previous slide, if you put it in your bag, you will not obtain anything. Nobody will eat that apple apart from yourself. So when you produce results, you have always to identify to whom you are producing your results. So key exploitable results have always a destination, which are your target groups. 2 categories, the main categories of your target groups should be early adopters and customers, who are the primary targets of your exploitation. Exploitation activities are always always targeting primarily early adopters and customers. If you are, let's do an example that probably everybody knows. If you are Intel and you produce processors, your target groups, your customers will never be the computer users. Never. You are not selling processors to users of computers. Your customers and your target groups are computer manufacturers. So your focus should be on computer manufacturers. Okay. This is a very, very important concept. And again, if I told you before that 50% of projects are not able to describe properly what are their key exploitable results, in this case, percentages increases. I would say 70% are not able to say or to tell you who are their customers. So think very, very carefully, or to whom are you selling, or who are the primary users of your result. I know that the word users and use may create confusion, because those who first use your results are your customers, but then obviously there is this common definition of end users that are those who will at the end. This is why they are called end users, because they are those who will use at the end your solution, but you will never interact with them. Okay, once you define to whom, you have to define how. So we identified what is our result, to whom we will sell this. Now you have also to identify in your exploitation plan, you have to define also how you plan to sell your result to the customers. And this introduces the concept of use model. So here, look at the picture. You are a producer, your result are apples. What, or better, how are you selling your apples? Are you bringing directly to the city square and sell it directly to the people? Or are you going to a supermarket and sell it to the supermarket? Then the supermarket will sell it to the people. This is a very easy example, but it gives you the idea of what is the use model. So you created a technology. Your result is a very good technology. How you will bring it to the market? Will you create a company and sell it immediately or directly to the market? Or will you create a patent and licensing your technology, so you will give the possibility to others to sell? It makes a lot of difference, because if you sell your results to the market, you should be structured to sell it to the market. You have to have sales force, distribution channels, etc. If you sell a license, you don't need this. You need contacts with those who have sales agents, distribution channels, etc. Okay. When you try to identify your use model, you should be credible. If your results is a new operative system, do you think you will be able to sell your operative system directly to the market? I would say you will at least find two main competitors, Microsoft and Apple. Are you able to compete with them? I would say no. So if you declare in your project that you will sell directly to the market your operative system, you will not be credible. This is a stupid example to say, pay attention to what are the market constraints and barriers. You have to demonstrate that you know the market in which you are proposing your solution, because the use model depends very much on the market conditions. Then we defined what, to whom, how. Then the last part is who. Who will deliver this key exploitable result to the market? This is, as we said before, a compulsory issue in the future Horizon Europe projects, you have always to identify an owner of the results. You have to demonstrate that there will be someone within your consortium which is interested and will take the responsibility of exploiting the result. If you don't have a responsible partner for this, nothing will happen. So verify the interest of your partners when you write the exploitation, your exploitation strategy. Ask who is interested in participating in the exploitation process, and identify one or, let's say, two, let's say maximum 3 responsible partners for a key exploitable result. Obviously, ownership and responsibilities should be compliant with your IPR strategy. Okay, so which is again an important part, obviously, of the exploitation strategy and of your proposal, because whenever you produce something new in terms of results, in terms of technology, in terms of innovation in general, intellectual property is always an important issue for future exploitation, because it creates somehow, again, ownership, and creates, let's say, how can I say, I would not say barriers, but it creates boundaries somehow around your results. If someone else is going to buy your result, if you define the intellectual property in a good way, it helps a lot future buyers in understanding what they are buying. And you will find here some suggestion how to write this part. Again, ownership, make it coherent with your dissemination strategy. Probably all you know about this, but it's worthwhile to remind you that if you publish your result on whatever journal, maybe you will not be able to patent it anymore. So you should pay attention to what you are disseminating and how you are disseminating when you plan an IPR strategy. So this is why one of the suggestions is make it coherent with your dissemination strategy. The last one, another point, I would say important point, is patenting is something which is not, which is never easy. So it requires specialized expertise. So if you plan to have a kind of structured IPR strategy, which is not industrial secret or copyright or whatever, but you plan, and your exploitation strategy is very much based on patenting, for example, try to include in your consortium some specific expertise on IPR to describe the process and how it should be addressed. So this is more or less all. Some final suggestions for when you address exploitation. I would start from the third one. I don't know why I should put it in the third place, because it's for me is the first one. Exploitation is a process. Begins with your project and ends after the end of your project. So you should take care of your exploitation path during the whole duration of the project, not only at month 36 if your project lasts 36 months. Okay. Appoint an exploitation manager. This is a good solution. Having one partner or the most, let's say, specialized partner on exploitation to be the exploitation manager in your project is always a good idea. So demonstrating that there will be one partner or one team who will coordinate all the other partners and all the other activities about exploitation is always a good idea. When you address exploitation, as we said, consider that the European Commission provides you a grant for the benefit of a large community, not for the benefit, but for the benefit of your entity. So concepts of sustainability and replicability are crucial. You have to demonstrate that your solution is not for the benefit only of one industry, and when industry, one company, I mean one company, but it benefits large number of companies. So you have to say what happens after the end of the project. You have to demonstrate that your exploitation process doesn't end with the end of the project. Be realistic, be credible. And then obviously make it coherent with dissemination and communication, because we spoke about exploitation, but exploitation goes together with dissemination and communication. Without dissemination, you will never reach exploitation objectives. Without exploitation, you will never reach dissemination objectives. So they have to go together with communication, obviously. And the last recommendation is let scientists do science and businessmen do business. If you are addressing exploitation, leave it to specialized resources. If you are not an expert of exploitation, look for someone who is a bit expert of exploitation to be responsible of this part of your project, so to be the exploitation manager. No exploitation means no impact, no use first, and then no impact. Some services that can help you with exploitation, the Horizon Results Booster services are free of charge services that can be requested a la carte. I'm the responsible, together with my colleague, my colleague of the management of these services. You can request them whenever you want during your project lifetime. You have 3 categories of services. For more information, go to the website. Again, they are free of charge, and once you have your project awarded, you can ask for these services, and some specialized experts can guide you along the exploitation pathway. Okay, so this is why Horizon Results Booster. This is not only about exploitation, also about dissemination, but again, you will find more information on the website. Finally, for IP issues, there is only now bit time left to apply, but there is still an opportunity called IP Booster, which is this set of specialized services related to intellectual property, As you see it here, you can find the list on the right side. You have time to apply until the 31st of May for these services, and only public research organization can apply for these services. Thank you for your attention. I finished.
Thank you very much, Lorenzo. Thank you for this presentation. I think it was very clear, and thank you for providing so many practical examples, thanks to which the exploitation, I think, become very tangible. So now we can start the Q&A. We have some short time, so please do leave us any questions in the chat if you have any. For now, I can see there is one question, which is related to exploitation and to the fact that exploitation needs to go beyond the lifetime of project to 2 to 3 years even. And Julia Maskevich is asking how this can be funded and supported.
Okay, my answer is yes. Your exploitation should last at least 2 or 3 years after the end of the project, your project. Obviously, the exploitation route is a long route, may take many years after the end of the project until you obtain, you know, the results, tangible results on the market, depending on what you are producing, on what's your result. You will need support from many different organizations, many different typology of stakeholders, including funding stakeholders. Again, funding can be different depending what's the state of the art of your result. As my director is used to say, all the money is not the same. So money from the Horizon Europe program is different from the money of a business angel, for example, or venture capital, meaning that they are funding different typology of activities. This is why I'm saying that the typology of funding you can use depends on the level of results you reached. If you are already reached, let's say, let's put in a TRL level that probably you all know. To have access to venture capital funding, you need to have reached at least TRL 9, so at the very end, 8, 9. To have use of type other, and obviously this kind of funding is a typology of funding which provides you even some million of euros. So you can find from a venture capital fund, you can also ask 2, 3, 4, 5 million euros of funding. If you are at an earlier stage, probably you should benefit from different typology of funding. Could be, for example, proof of concept funds. Some of these funds are also available within Horizon Europe, the EIC accelerator, if I'm not wrong. This is a different typology of funding because this is has the objective of demonstrating the validity of your concept. So it's the dimension of this funding is limited. They will provide you generally 150 €. If you didn't reach even that level, which could be TRL, let's say 5, 6, but you are at an even earlier stage, TRL 3 or 4, probably the funding you should consider is more the one similar to Horizon Europe, another research project, a demonstration project, let's say. National funding, you can find also national funding in the national programs, regional programs. There is structural fund. There are structural funds that provide this kind of funding, but it's generally not funded 100% as the Horizon Europe, for example.
Thank you. Just a question, should we describe it that way in the proposal already? That's my strategy to exploit project results.
Oh, if you have this clear years in advance, why not?
Okay.
Generally, when you write the proposal, you are making hypotheses. You're making assumptions on what your results will be, what your impact will be. So things may change very easily during the project lifetime. So even your exploitation plan and your exploitation strategy may change during the project lifetime. So saying at the proposal level what will be your next funding, I would say, is even too much, I would say. But you can mention if you are planning to do this and you are sure about your results, why not?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Julia, for your questions, and thank you, Lorenzo, for answering them. We have one more question. What happens if throughout the project there might be a different innovation that they come up with? How do they share this IP?
This is what you have to discuss internally with your partners, and this is why there are consortium agreements. So let's say that it happened that during the project lifetime, some partner or there was a result which was not expected, for example, and could be patented. You have to verify, first of all, who is interested in exploiting that result, and who is interested in presenting the patent of that result or that innovation. You have to reach an agreement internally. Once you have this part well defined, it's all written down. There is no, I would say, any standard procedure to follow. It's all about agreements, internal agreements among partners. I know that this often generates a lot of problems because the partners don't agree on how to further exploit this or what to do next, and I know that this creates the majority of often the majority of problems when you would like to exploit your result. But this is the only way you have to address this point. Discuss it internally, because you cannot, let's say, exclude other partners from IP protection, because the general rule, let's say, what is included in the DESCA is that all the partners that somehow contributed to the generation of a result or of an innovation, or the way you would like to call it, have the rights to be owners of a part of that innovation.
Thank you, Lorenzo, for answering this question. Thank you, Lakshmi, for asking it. Now, I am mindful of the time. We are going over the time that we suggested, so we will not go through any more questions at this point. You will be able to, well, you will receive the presentation slides and the recording of this session tomorrow. It will be sent out to your email addresses. We will also take all the insights from the 4 Horizon Europe sessions that we had, plus we will also integrate our own knowledge and experience and create a condensed toolkit for you to support, and for you to support you further in maximizing your impact and improving your communication, dissemination, and exploitation. This toolkit will be also co-branded by Meta Group as well, and you will receive all access to it when it's ready. Now we are also inviting you for our Knowledge into Action Festival. This event is a unique opportunity crafted for our members and non-members to harness the emerging developments in circular economy, inclusive capitalism, and value-centered models, as well as we will be discussing the future learning paradigms that are needed to support the sustainability transformation. So this event takes place from April 27 to 29th of April. So that is next week. And each day will be focusing on a different theme. Plus, each day will also feature an interactive session that will be great for discussing your ideas on the matter and learning from others and do some networking. You will be able to find the full program and register at the link that is provided in the chat right now. And also to conclude, we would love to hear your opinion on the webinar series that we were having, and specifically on this session on exploitation. So please, if you have 2 minutes to spare, fill out the survey that you can also find in the chat, which will also be sent to you on your email. We would very much appreciate it to know what you think. And lastly, I would very much like to thank our wonderful speaker, Lorenzo. Thank you very much for so many interesting insights and the knowledge that you brought to our network. And thank you all our participants for joining us and being interested in today's session. We will hopefully see you soon in our next activities. So thank you very much and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.